What's up, everyone? I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jessie.
You're listening to Milkshakes and Ghosts.
This episode is brought to you by
Sinister Brew Coffee isn't your ordinary cup of joe. It's a bold, horror-themed, small-batch coffee company owned by veterans who dare to take your taste buds on a dark and delicious journey.
From cosmic creations to cryptid-inspired blends, every roast comes with a sinister twist. Handcrafted for those who crave something truly unique.
It's not just coffee. It's an experience steeped in mystery, macabre storytelling, and flavors that are to die for.
Dare to sip in the shadows and join the Sinister family at sinisterbrewcoffee.com.
Where every cup reminds you that the darkness is delicious. I've had a lot of friends and family members who've gotten married in the month of February. Can you believe that?
I always thought it was such an odd month to get married in.
Why is that?
Don't people usually get married in June, September, or October? I've heard May and March are popular months too, but never February.
Well, you're absolutely right on that, Jessie.
Weren't you a June bride?
Indeed, I was, and it was wonderful. The weather was perfect, but it was really difficult getting vendors and a place since there's a lot of June brides out there. For those of you who have gotten married, especially in the month of June, you know exactly what I'm talking about. February is a smarter month to get married in.
I think it's too cold right now. Warmer weather is better for a wedding.
You're not wrong on that. However, in February, you can get cheaper wedding dresses and a place to have your wedding because of off-season prices and promotions. So like I said before, it is a smarter move.
I didn't know that.
Girl, weddings are expensive. Any discounts always help. If you want to save some money, get married in an off-season, like February.
Well, you do not ever have to worry about that with me, because I'm never getting married.
Okay, you sure you're not? You're gonna stay with me forever, right?
Why would I not?
Okay, folks, you heard it here, live, on air. Jessie said she's gonna stay with me forever.
I'm not leaving you, you're my bestie.
Besties for life, girl. So, in case anyone is wondering why we're talking about weddings, it's because of today's stories.
We have 2 stories about ghostly brides. But before we get started, what you drinking today?
I'm so glad you asked. I am drinking a red velvet milkshake. I found the recipe online at theturquoisetable.com because I know you're about to ask me, okay, so you made this recipe? No, I did not. I found it on there.
What's in it besides red velvet?
It has vanilla ice cream. Of course, like you said, a slice of red velvet cake, which is super yummy. A teaspoon of vanilla, whipped cream for topping, and a little bit of sprinkles, just for show.
It sounds good, but haven't you made something like that before?
I did make something very similar.
Well, do you like it?
It's pretty good. It's really rich in flavor, so I can't complain. I will link it in the show notes in case anyone is interested in it. For all of you listening out there, always look at the show notes. We list our sponsors, delicious milkshake recipes, sources where we got our information from for every podcast episode that we do. We also list really cool people to follow on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and we also have other amazing podcast shows to listen to. So, I'm going to ask you the same question, the magic question of the day, Jessie. What's in your cup?
I'm drinking a chocolate cake shake.
Okay, so that does sound delicious. It's cool how we're both drinking something with cake in it. And chocolate and red velvet are basically kind of the same thing, just one is red and one is, brown in color.
I got my milkshake recipe online at playpartyplan.com. I will link it in the show notes if anyone wants to try. It's an easy recipe. All you need is vanilla ice cream, milk, chocolate cake, and chocolate sprinkles. Of course I use dairy-free products for my shake. I mean, I always do, don't I? But you guys can use regular products or dairy-free. The choice is yours.
It sounds super yummy, Jessie.
All right, everyone, grab your favorite milkshake and hold on to your blankie. Be wary, it's about to get scary. I'm going to discuss the tragedy of Laura M. Schaffer, famously known as the Burning Bride of Alexandria.
I've never heard this ghost story before.
The truth is more horrifying than the fiction. The real Laura Schaffer was the youngest child of Christian and Susan Schaffer, a prominent couple who owned a confectionery shop in Alexandria. On the fateful night of June 27, 1868, after they closed the shop for the night, the family retired to their upstairs apartment. Laura's upcoming nuptials to a young man named Charles Tenson were the talk of the family, if not the talk of the town. Even in the newspapers where their engagement was announced, Charles was regarded for his kindness of heart and good manners. They would wed soon, looking forward to a lifetime together. While getting ready for bed, Laura took a kerosene lamp to her father's bedroom to tell him goodnight. It was then that the lamp's glass cracked, and burning oil splashed onto her clothes. Her Victorian clothes, consisting of the standard hoop skirt, corset, and thick layers of fabric, fed the raging fire and prevented her from stripping out of the flaming materials.
Oh my gosh! That's horrific! I can't imagine not being able to get out of your burning clothes.
Yeah, that's a scary scene. I can't imagine how panicked she must have been. So Laura dropped the lamp in her father's room, causing a fire there. She fled through the house, screaming in pain as the fire caught her skin and hair. Her running only caused the fire to get more intense, and by the time she got to the stairs, her mother and brother-in-law tried to help her. The fire in her father's bedroom was extinguished, though the flames had reached the ceiling. Laura was covered in second and third degree burns. Parts of her skin were even described as the consistency of a crisp. There's a speculation that she may have had to suffer for over 15 hours until she passed away at 11 a.m. on June 29, 1868, at the tender age of 26 years old.
That is so sad. What a horrible way to die.
Yeah, this is one of the worst ways to die. I feel really bad for her. Laura's fiance, Charles, stayed by her side until she passed away.
Now that's a good man. I'm glad he did that.
He was a really good guy and took Laura's passing really hard. He drowned his grief in large amounts of alcohol, with the company of his friend Henry Green to bolster his mood. Charles went to a wholesale liquor warehouse where his friend was a member. Letting themselves inside, Henry poured 2 ales as they drank in stunned silence. Laura was widely regarded as a pillar of her community, described in the Gazette as a pretty ornament. There were a large circle of friends and family devastated at her tragic passing. Charles, known for his cheerful attitude previously, quickly became sad and depressed. When Charles finished his drink, Henry grabbed the mugs to clean them. Behind him, the sudden loud sound of gunfire echoed through the warehouse. Henry turned in time to see his friend's limp body hit the ground. A self-inflicted bullet wound bleeding from his temple from his Whitney revolver. Henry summoned a doctor, but Charles' injury was too severe. The bullet had not exited smoothly, but rather bounced around in the skull. Instead of a painless and instant death, he was now dying slowly. 20 minutes later, he breathed his last breath.
Very tragic story. That breaks my heart to know that.
It really is. While not specific, local churches took care of the final arrangements for the young couple. Laura is buried at Washington Street, United Methodist Church in Alexandria, and it's believed that Charles is buried not too far from her.
Any bit of silver lining would really help after hearing this story. Please tell me you have something good to say about anything so far.
There is silver lining. Laura and Charles are finally together at last. William Shakespeare did write about this. It's the story of star-crossed lovers. Unfortunately, the story becomes warped over time as details, dates, and people are added or subtracted to make the tale more interesting. Charles is usually never mentioned, or he died later, usually of a broken heart, which is not exactly wrong. Laura always dies in her wedding dress at some point on her wedding day. People say that both male and female spirits have been felt in the house and nearby properties. It's believed that Laura is the female spirit and has manifested herself over the years. Children claim to see her in her wedding dress, crying in a corner. Adults have seen the lit kerosene lamp move from room to room after hours. There has been a smell of burning hair. A cold wind will whip past people down the stairs, believed to be Laura sprinting for her life. A woman's voice was recorded saying hello to a paranormal investigator. When the building was a real estate office, a woman claimed that the door swelled shut on her and she couldn't leave. Suddenly, the door flew open and a gush of cold air flew past her. She claimed to hear the panting breaths of a person at the bottom of the stairs, but there was no one there. If people sense a male presence, he's considered angry or inspires feelings of dread. They think the presence is Charles. A male voice was recorded telling a business owner, "Enough!" and leave. The candy store has had displays knocked over and items moved in the night.
I would absolutely love to pay my respects to their grave or even the house. I think the story is really tragic. It's just sad to know that two people that were so young and so much in love died horrific deaths and didn't get a chance to start their lives. Dating and being in love, yeah, you're making memories, but getting married and having your own kids, that's when you start your life. And it just hurts to know that they didn't have the opportunity to do that.
The Schaffer house went through a few different identities. It has been a real estate agency, a Christmas trinket store called the Christmas Attic, once again a candy store, and currently it is a coffee house and gelato shop with an Airbnb on the 3rd floor. According to Michael Lee Pope, author of Ghosts of Alexandria, tenants who have owned and worked in the building know something is different and is not quite right. One local ghost tour guide shared that she felt lightheaded and dizzy when she visited the house while it was the Christmas attic. Employees of the Christmas attic also shared that Christmas trees and other holiday props would be knocked down the next morning after the store closed. When a woman named Canada Kreb opened Candy's Candies in the house in 2007, she never knew the story of Laura Schaffer until the ghost tour was outside one evening. Kreb told the group she doesn't believe in ghosts before closing the window, but then she had an experience that changed her mind.
Ghosts tend to get upset when you say you don't believe in ghosts, so you shouldn't say that.
That's a fact. I swear every ghost story ever told begins with someone saying, "I don't believe in ghosts."
You and I have experienced a whole lot after saying that same sentence. When we first started our podcast and we first started ghost hunting, we were more skeptics than we were believers. That changed real quick because as soon as either one of us have said that sentence, that's usually when ghost activities tend to pick up.
So true. Anyways, Kreb was working alone one evening while closing the shop when she smelled something burning. She went to the hallway to search for the source, but didn't find anything. Using her nose, Kreb followed the smell upstairs, but once again found nothing. Kreb decided it must have been a neighbor smoking, so she closed the shop for the night. The next day, the smell came back. As Kreb went to investigate once more, she went to the same staircase that Laura ran down for her life. It was then Kreb remembered the story of Laura. This wouldn't be Kreb's only experience. One night, she was cleaning a store when she had this overwhelming feeling of being watched. She heard a voice in her head say, "Enough, leave." Kreb didn't stick around quickly and took the cash register and left. She believes this was Laura telling her that she overstayed her welcome and it was time to go. Kreb also reported feeling an overwhelming presence in the basement as well, and described it as a male. Kreb kept the receipt signed by Laura M. Schaffer behind the cash register. It is unknown if the coffee and gelato shop still have it, but it's a nice reminder that there are real people behind these stories. And that, my friends, is the legend, lore, and true story of Laura M. Schaffer, the Burning Bride of Alexandria.
Whoa, Jesse. That story was heavy.
It really was.
This episode is brought to you by
Tired of the same old coffee routine? Craving a cup of paradise? Introducing Kona Coffee House LV. Bring the magic of Kona coffee straight to you, wherever you are.
Kona Coffee House LV uses only the finest 100% organic Hawaiian Kona coffee beans, made by perfection by Sammy Scrumptious herself. These gluten-free and preservative-free beans are a rare specialty, offering a unique and unforgettable taste experience.
No need to wait in line. Kona Coffee House LV is mobile, delivering a taste of paradise. Book Kona Coffee today for corporate events, parties, venues, and so much more.
Follow Kona Coffee on Instagram at Kona Coffee House LV for updates on upcoming events. Visit their website at konacopel.com to learn more and schedule your Kona Coffee experience today. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to savor the world's finest coffee. All right, are you ready for my story?
Bring on the spooky, you bet I am.
Hold on to your seats. It's about to get spooky. Today, I'm going to be discussing the legend of Catherine Hill.
I don't think I heard this story before.
Well, be careful if you're driving along Route 182 in Hancock County, Maine.
And why is that?
You just might have a ghost try to hitch a ride.
Yeah, no thank you. Unless you're paying for gas, you cannot get in the car. I'm putting a sign on a car door that says no hitchhikers, especially ghosts.
That would actually be a really cool sign to have. Jack, write that down.
Yes, Jack, write that down. We need a sign like that to put on our car.
Okay, so the legend of Catherine has been around since 1860, and there are different variations on who exactly she may have been and the circumstances surrounding her death. The story has been passed down through generations, and as usual, with this type of ghost storytelling, things sometimes shift. Allegedly, she was in either a carriage or a car accident, which seems to change depending on when the story is told. One night, Catherine and her fiancé were on the road going to their wedding. They lost control of the carriage, which flew down the hill, ending in a tragic crash. Some say she was decapitated in the crash. Since then, this route has had a dark force haunting it to this day. She is said to occasionally be spotted here at night on the side of the road, flagging drivers down for a ride, for help, or for reasons unknown. As the story has been passed down from generation to generation, the details have changed from word of mouth. Catherine has been reported looking like a bright being on the side of the road, in white, sometimes blue, dressed with jet black hair and an angelic yet terrifying face. Few brave souls have welcomed her into their car to help, only for her to disappear immediately after opening the car door. Many believe that she spares you if you show her kindness, and few are around to tell the tale of not doing so. Others claim Catherine was a witch, hung for practicing her craft in the deep Maine woods. Others say she wasn't a witch, but a Native American woman, brought to the top of the hill and hung for reasons unknown. This isn't out of the realm of possibilities, and it would explain why there's no record of her death or grave on site. I could only find one grave for a Catherine in that area, and her death date doesn't match with her fiancé husband's date of death.
So there's no solid proof to the story?
Not any that I could find. Just the lore and people's own eyewitness testimonies is all I really found online. Others that have traveled in that area have claimed that her and her fiance died when their carriage spun out of control and hit a tree.
Well, geez, were they racing other horses?
Who knows? It was the 1800s.
Finally, Mom, a time period older than you!
Aha, very funny. Anyways, some have twisted the story for scare sakes, claiming Catherine is wandering around the road looking for her head since the carriage accident beheaded her. Others have replaced the carriage with a 1950s automobile, placing Catherine and her fiancé at the scene of the front of the collision with the tree and Catherine selling out the windshield, taking her head clean off. Another explanation is the Model T that still sits at the bottom of Fox Pond. Drivers discovered the wreck years ago, all but confirming the stories that Catherine died in an automobile accident in the 1920s.
So there is a shred of truth to the story.
Well, in that version, there is. There obviously was an accident and proof of it. There's an eyewitness who allegedly met Catherine's spirit, insisting he picked a lady up to give her a ride, only to see she had disappeared from the back seat of his car. Confused, the man got out and looked in his back seat for the young girl. The girl had vanished. However, the back seat was soaked as if someone had crawled straight from the pond and into his car. Several others who have met this mysterious woman claim having some sort of car trouble or accident shortly after driving past her or refusing to help. So many people have confirmed that Catherine is real, that it's hard not to believe it. But which is the true story?
Yeah, I think the most accurate story was from 1920 because they found a car at the bottom of the lake and someone could have died, so.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Well, while I was researching this story, since I couldn't find much truth, that was the only shred of truth that I seem to have found, and I found it plausible that maybe there was somebody that died. And who knows, maybe her name was Catherine. There was a winery in the area named after her, the Catherine Hill Winery, and it has 15 varieties of wine that was produced by the owners Deb and Walt Shorts in their very home. This was an amazing winery, but unfortunately, as of 2024, the owners decided to close it down.
Do you think they closed it down because the place was haunted? I mean, maybe they were being terrorized by Catherine's ghost.
Who knows? It could be. I didn't see any further information on why they closed it down. I do know when COVID-19 hit and the pandemic took place, it did cause a lot of businesses to close down. They did purchase the winery during that time period. I have no idea if this is a reason, though. Now, if all of you listening enjoy the tale of Catherine Hill and want to take a drive to Route 182 in Maine, go for it. As you travel down Catherine Mountain, named after Catherine, located in Hancock County, you may spot the ghostly figure of Catherine herself, ready to flag down anyone driving past. Some have seen her as a headless bride, searching for her lost love, while others glimpse a beautiful woman in a white dress, asking for a ride. Dare to drive the road at night, experience the thrill, and maybe even meet Catherine on the Haunted Hancock County tour. For more ghostly encounters, I have linked 2 websites that offer Bar Harbor ghost walks and tours. If you live in Maine or are planning to visit, check out the websites I linked in the show notes.
If we were ever to visit Maine, I would love to go visit.
Okay, let's put it on our to-do list. We are making that a note. I want to go too.
Sounds like a plan. Don't turn this episode off yet. We're still not done. After announcements, you get to hear our bloopers. As a matter of fact, let me put the Burning Bride on our list.
We have a to-do list in our office, and we list all the places that we want to travel to ghost hunt. So Jesse's now writing it on the board. And Jesse's right, you guys. Stay tuned for the bloopers. A lot of people tend to stop listening to us when we start reading our Patreon members because it's such a big list, and I understand that list can be quite long. We always pay our respects to our Patreons. They are a second family, and we love them very much. So keep around for our bloopers because I mess up constantly, probably way more than Jesse. And our wonderful assistant, Jack, edits every mistake out. And then now he's putting them at the end of our show so all of you can have a good laugh.
Yes, thank you very much, Jack.
Yes, thank you so much, Jack. So for all of you listening, stick around for the bloopers.
This episode is brought to you by...
Looking for a reputable notary republic at an affordable price? Well, look no further. Mrs. Ashley Lutchman is now taking appointments and accepting new clients. Jesse and I needed some documents to sign for our podcast.
We wanted someone with experience who was well known and didn't cost a fortune.
That's right. One of our good friends had worked with Mrs. Lutchman regarding some legal paperwork they needed notarized and recommended her to us.
She was professional, efficient, and affordable.
If you need important documents notarized, email Ashley Lutchman at ashleylutchman@gmail.com. Ashley Lutchman can be found on Instagram and TikTok. I will link her socials and her email in our show notes.
Ashley Lutchman is remote and commissioned in the state of Florida.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a spooky story and would like to have it read on air, please write us at milkshakesghost@gmail.com. If you would like to follow our socials, we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Twitter, and Patreon.
If you would like to become a Patreon member, please visit patreon.com/milkshakesandghosts. I will link it in the show notes, along with all of our other socials.
Join Patreon for free monthly gifts and cool perks.
Let's give a shout out to our awesome, amazing Patreon members. Mr. E from Special Delivery Show. Check out the Special Delivery Show. His podcast takes interviews to a whole new level. I'd like to give a big shout out to our friend on TikTok, PsychoFiend13. He posts really cool content and has weekly lives with some amazing people. So go give him a follow. I will link his TikTok account in our show notes.
M&G VIP members also include Death Rock 1875, Electric 222, Clara Jones, John and Jenna, Mothman Prophecy 424, Vampires Rock 222, The Blonde Happenings with Kelly and Brenda, Witches for Life 1892, Bigfoot is Real 76, Bloodsucker 95, Nightmares 888, Witchy Talk 65, Dracula Rock 22, Tina and Ruben, Ramos 1972, Marie, Mary Ann, The Paranormal Duo, Laura and Joanne, Bruce the Spooky, Harmony, Joan of Arc, The Dark Side, Ronald H., Joe Santana, Mara Morales from That's So Spooky, Jada Kimar H., Tony S., Jean from The Truth Is Out There, Naughty and Edward, Carl and Becca, Mandy and Kenneth, Jules and Christina, Joel from The Paranormal Countdown, Alan, Death Star 1, Vaccine, Tara Screams, Jewel M., Victor and Myra, Haunted Canadian History, and Melissa and Dan, The Truth Is Out There with Carly and Allison.
I don't know how you say all those names so fast, but I know it's much appreciated. Thank you all so much for being Patreon members. We appreciate each and every single one of you.
And remember, keep drinking milkshakes.
And keep being spooky! It's time for bloopers!
Warmer weather is better for a wedding.
We also list really cool people to follow on TikTok, Instagram, and other amazing podcast.
And a gush of cold hair.
Some have seen her as a headless bride searching for lost. Some
It's spooky season, 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 it's spooky season, it's spooky season, 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 spooky season.